The biggest shift in cannabis history is happening right now in 2025. And what I mean by that is just 4 years ago, there were only 19 states that provided legal cannabis services. Now there's up to 24. The reason why this is important is because there are states hitting record numbers in terms of sales. We have New York looking to double their dispensaries in 2025. We have Florida projected to hit almost $3.1 billion. Then we also have Illinois that's been hitting record marks over $2 billion in sales just this year alone. Now, why is this important? It's important because one, the cannabis market is expanding. And I think I speak for most people where we're like, okay, this is probably a very, very good thing. However, on the dispensary level, there's one thing that I need you to take into consideration. With a greater expansion of a market, the more competition is going to become a part of it. Where there is more opportunity, more dispensaries are going to come in, and there's going to be more competition knocking at your door. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through some of the common pitfalls I see new dispensary owners make. And if you're a more mature dispensary and you've been open for a little while, this video will be also important for you so that you can make sure that you do the things to make sure that you keep your moat as big as possible so that more competition can't keep coming in and taking away your sales. So let's get into it. Okay, so what's this moat that I alluded to earlier on in the video? So what happens a lot of times if you're a newer dispensary, let's say you're opening in New Jersey, Buffalo, Minnesota soon enough. The problem is that when you open up a dispensary, there is zero competition everywhere. So you can do nothing and people are gonna come straight through your door. And I see this all the time. We have dispensaries and I have clients that have come to me personally where they have just built it and then people ended up coming. The problem is that things will be good maybe year one, maybe year two. Then around year 2.5, year 3, depending on how many people come in, your sales keep on getting chipped away bit by bit by bit. It's like the death of 1,000 cuts, if you will. And what ends up happening is that when you go, you build out your website, it might be good, but it's just okay for you to sell product online. When you build out your store, you put all of your effort into it. It looks really, really good. Sure, there might be some things that you could have done to better your store, but you didn't want to invest another $50,000 to expand a section on the store. And I get it. You spent tons of money on just the compliance, the regulation, lawyers, all of these things alone, and you just want to get the store out and start selling to people. So here's the catch. Everything is going to be good at the beginning, but we need to do what's called building your moat. And what I mean by that is we need to build out your brand so that when the competition does end up coming, they still decide to use you as the cannabis retailer that they want to come and buy products for. So there's a couple steps that we can go about doing this. So first things first, you have your traditional third-party marketplaces like Weedmaps and then Leafly. I'm not super against these third-party marketplaces, but I'm also not super pro these third-party marketplaces. A little while ago, I think they like 7x'd the ad costs to some of the retailers in LA, and I'm talking about Weedmaps. And the problem is a lot of these stores who used only Weedmaps to promote their business, one, they were only positioned as a discount dispensary, but two, the problem was that because they were only selling on Weedmaps, once that ad cost came up, because it was a billing platform and the people who pay the most are going to have the most exposure, what ends up happening is that that cost ends up shrinking your margins because more competition keeps on coming in. You're bidding for higher ad placements, and little bit by little bit, your things are shrinking away. So what you need to do is start investing in a proper website and proper branding. And I'm going to get into that into a second. This is why reset. So this is what I was saying about me being pro or not necessarily against these third-party marketplaces. Because one, they're very good to just establish who you are and where you are located to get new customers coming in through the door. As it currently stands, you don't have any brand, you just started your store, but Weedmaps has eyes in terms of people coming in and purchasing already. So we can use this as a little ignition source to get the ball rolling, to get people to start coming in through the door. But what we want to do is we want to make sure we then start capturing the customers as best as we possibly can. Hey, very quickly, if you're enjoying this video, I have something very special for you. In the links in the description below, you can check out the workbook that goes along with this specific video. It includes checklists, summaries, and a step-by-step action plan to take your dispensary to the next level. In addition to this, I have a cool little bonus where when you download your workbook, you'll have access to all the previous workbooks I've created, and then also all the future workbooks I'm going to create. So you're going to want to get it in the description below. Now back to the video. So one, you need to have a killer website. That's the first thing that you need to do. If you have a freelancer or an agency or just a non-cannabis specialist, make sure that everything is neat and tidy. Things look very well. I've done tons of videos on how to make sure your website's better converting and how to make sure it's showing up online in Google. That's not what the specific video is about. I'm just going very high level in terms of the things that you need to do to make sure you stay in the right place in the coming years in the future. So you're going to have your website. It's going to look good. You want to make sure it ranks high on Google because that's obviously something that you need to do. But on top of that, we need to start establishing what does your loyalty look like, because you're going to get customers coming in and they're just going to sign up for loyalty and it's going to be fantastic, right? And what ends up happening a lot of times is that because life is so good within those first 1 to 2 years, we don't really need to think about how we're acquiring customers, the cost it is to acquire a customer, the discounts and deals we need to keep a customer. All of this stuff you need to make sure that you have properly in place. So what ends up happening is that, let's say you have a store in the middle of a city and you have a circle radius of the people coming in to purchase. Maybe you have a 15-mile radius around you. Due to compliance and regulation, licenses say that you can't have a dispensary no more closer than 2 miles near to each other. Sure, that's completely fine. The problem is that if you have 2 dispensaries like this and this dispensary is 2 miles away, they're now going to take the market share of all the other people that were coming in, right? Especially when they come in and because it's a grand opening and they start offering product for a lot cheaper. If they offer product for 50% cheaper that has the same perceived value, then you're going to be out of luck. So that now takes me to my next point. What you want to do is make sure you have a key differentiator for your business. And the way you do that is based on a couple ways, but the main 2 ways is just have a killer product. What's your terpene variation? What are your genetics? Like all of these things, like good product goes without saying. But the other side of that, because if you are in a new market, it is also about education of the customer. So if you're in a college town, if you're dealing with a lot of first-time buyers, if you're dealing with a lot of, let's say, non-traditional cannabis consumers, picture the older demographic, right? We say mostly it's male dominated, so you might have more female people coming in, looking at edibles, what products that they're looking for, how do they want to feel with specific products. When you start educating your customers, you build a massive loyal following because you educate them on the problems that you solve. A big thing going around these days is mold and mold remediation and all of that fun stuff. So you can go and tell your customers, say, hey, did you know that 80% of cannabis products have mold on it and most of the time it's remediated so we can sell it back for cheaper, right? We make sure that all of our products completely tested and we don't have any mold on it. That's obviously just an example, but this is what I'm talking about. You need to go out and start educating your customers. That then takes me to my next thing is how do you go about educating your customers? When it comes to marketing, and if you've been following me for a while, a lot of things that I keep on talking about is having a killer website and ranking on Google. Those are like kind of like the 2 main things from the bottom of the pyramid. If you go back and watch my marketing 2025 video, there's a couple steps. There's website, there's SEO, there's email and loyalty, social media, and then there's a community aspect to it as well. What we need to do from an education standpoint is we need to now proactively educate our customers. How do we go about doing that? It takes me back to the thing that I said at the beginning of this conversation. It's about loyalty. When you get loyal customers coming back in, don't just keep peppering them with discounts and deals and promotions and 15% off and 25% off. Because one, you're going to condition them to only purchase with you when you have a discount, and you don't want that at all. But 2, in your emails, you can provide some valuable information as to why your dispensary is X times greater than the dispensary down the street, or why you think you've built your dispensary up in a way that is the most awesome thing that you've ever built before. And if you've built your business, I hope that's how you're taking the diligence into this project. Going into cannabis is a massive undertaking. Explaining different things like we picked the most amazing team that has the most amount of experience. Collectively we have 100 years of cannabis cultivation experience, and altogether we grow the best products for you. Or we stay on the cutting edge of this, or we do lab testing about that, right? By continuing to educate your customers week in, week out, day in, day out, you're going to be able to prime yourself to build this moat against everybody coming in. Because bringing it back to legalization, we have all of these states coming on board. So if you're close to a border of a state and you have a lot of cross-border people coming in for legal cannabis, once that state goes legal, what's going to happen is that they're not going to come to you anymore because the distance is so far away. So there's only so much you're going to be able to do with the increase in friction. But the things that I would recommend is that you need to continue to educate your customers customer. You need to make sure that you provide them the information that is very, very important for them to understand why the value that you provide is 10 times greater than the value of a competitor that might come on down the street. So I hope this all makes sense, but this is just what I wanted to prepare you for, because everyone is looking forward to rescheduling, everyone is looking forward to federal legalization and all of these great things. But the problem is that with all of this stuff comes competition. And if you're one of the lucky few that were able to get a license in like the first license, or if you're one of the lucky few to continue on year after year and defeat the competition that keeps on coming in, you need to make sure that you properly educate your customer. And you can't just say, oh, our flower is the best, so we can charge 2 times more. You need to showcase and provide a reason why you say your flower is better, aside from you just saying it. I hope that helps, and I hope you guys are prepared for the legalization that's to come, and we could see an expanding market. I don't mean to be the purveyor of doom and gloom, but this is just the things that my YouTube channel is here to prepare you for. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Hey, according to YouTube, this is the best next video for you. Go ahead and click it now.